I mean, we've seen over the weekend, you would have seen the reports of a Chinese naval vessel using a laser to target a Australian Defence Force surveillance aircraft. This is completely unacceptable. And so we have demanded there be an investigation on the behaviour of what occurred on that vessel. It was dangerous, it was reckless, and it was unprofessional for what should be a sophisticated Navy. So we expect China to provide some answers on those matters. All countries in the region demand an answer to this because it's an Australian surveillance aircraft this time. Who's next? And so it's very important that China explain themselves for this act of recklessness in our exclusive economic zone. They had every right to be there and travelling through those waters, just as Australian vessels has every right to be up through the South China Sea, as well as the British and the Americans and the Japanese and the French and the Germans and the Canadians and everyone else sails through there. But it's not okay to be doing what occurred there on the weekend, and we expect a full explanation.
There were hugs and gifts of Vegemite at Australia's biggest airport on Monday as it buzzed with reunited family and friends. The country has welcomed back tourists now that the international borders are fully reopened. At Sydney Airport, American traveller Lauren Potter was one of the travellers overjoyed with the restrictions lifting.
Yeah, as soon as they opened up the borders, I just knew I could finally come and see my family and attend my brother's wedding, like on March 4th. So that's what I'm really excited about, to have the whole family together again.
After more than 2 years of closures, you can now visit Australia if you're fully vaccinated. More than 50 international flights were set to land in the country on Monday, including 27 touching down at Sydney, the largest city. Australian Trade and Tourism Minister Dan Tehan said the tourism industry is hopeful for a rebound in bookings after the $43 billion industry was hamstrung by closed borders.
The hugs, the tears has just been wonderful. It's been a party out here at Sydney Airport. Everyone's celebrating. It's so great to have the international tourists back from right around the world.
Australia shifted away from its fortress-style controls and relentless lockdowns at the end of last year and began living with the virus after reaching higher levels of vaccination. Australia's outbreak of the Omicron coronavirus variant appears to have passed its peak, with hospital admissions steadily falling over the past 3 weeks.
Beijing doused its Olympic flame on Sunday night, capping off games that will be remembered for its extreme COVID-19 policies, as well as the doping scandal surrounding 15-year-old Russian skating sensation Kamila Valieva. Chinese President Xi Jinping was on hand for the closing ceremony, where International Olympics Committee President Thomas Bach praised Beijing's organizers. The Beijing Games were the second Olympics in 6 months to be held in a closed loop, after last summer's delayed events in Tokyo. In China, the tight seal prevented the spread of COVID-19 at the Olympics or into the community, vindicating a zero-COVID policy that has isolated China from the rest of the world. But many athletes still had their Olympic dreams dashed by positive tests that prevented them from competing. China was, however, spared any embarrassing protests by competitors over its treatment of the Uyghur Muslim minority, and thousands of foreign journalists on hand were stuck inside the loop, unable to report more widely. But the game's biggest legacy will be the controversy surrounding skater Valieva, who failed a doping test in December, but the result only revealed a day after she helped her team win an Olympic medal. Though she was eventually allowed to compete in her final singles event, Valieva stumbled under pressure, her performance prompting a harsh reaction from her coaches. The saga reopened debate over whether minors should be allowed to compete in the games. An investigation by the world's top anti-doping authority into Valieva's entourage is also underway.
The U.S. and Russia have tentatively agreed to a meeting over Ukraine, offering a possible path out of one of the most dangerous European crises in decades. The office of French President Emmanuel Macron said in a statement on Monday he had pitched a summit over security and strategic stability in Europe to his American and Russian counterparts, Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin. White House responded in a statement that Biden would accept the meeting in principle, but only if an invasion doesn't happen. In that statement, Press Secretary Jen Psaki said, quote, "We are always ready for diplomacy. We are also ready to impose swift and severe consequences should Russia instead choose war. Neither the Kremlin nor the Ukrainian president responded to requests for comment. Macron's proposal comes after a week of high tension sparked by Russia's military buildup on Ukraine's borders. U.S.-based satellite imagery shows multiple deployments of Russian units in forests, farms, and industrial areas less than 10 miles from the border. Western countries say it's a prelude to an imminent invasion, which Moscow denies. Details about the proposed summit are unclear, but Macron and the White House said it would be worked out by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov during their meeting at the end of this month. It's also uncertain what role Ukraine would play in the summit, if any.